Hello and welcome to another episode of The Average EV. We've had our Volkswagen ID4 for 3 years now. We just got another dog, which is a Lab Newfoundland mix, so very big. Our son's getting bigger, he's got friends, we've got to take people places, and the ID4 just isn't gonna cut it anymore for us. Recently, Toyota announced that the Highlander is going to be, the 2027 model year is going to be EV only. It's a 3-row. It's very interesting, and we're looking at it. So in this video, I'm going to kind of go over everything about the Toyota Highlander, where we're at with our thoughts right now, and whether this might be the next EV in the Average EV garage. Let's get into it. So yeah, everybody, the ID4 has been great for us, but now it's time to get a bigger car. Now, at least in our price range, there's only a couple options. So we've got the EV9, the Ioniq 9, and now later this year, well, closer to the end of this year, we're gonna have the Highlander. So now people are probably like, well, why don't you go for the Ioniq 9 or EV9? And if I'm being honest, we have looked at it. They're not completely ruled out, but there hasn't been, well, first off, the EV9's been heavily covered by people, and that's great. There hasn't seemed to be a ton of interest in the Ioniq 9. And for the Toyota, my wife's family, they have a lot of history going back to Toyota. My wife's grandfather was some sort of executive with Toyota America, something like that. And so they really love Toyota. My in-laws own three Toyota RAV4s. There's a big Toyota family. And so nothing would make my wife happier than to be back in a Toyota. From my perspective, the EVs have been a little lackluster, but Toyota actually has been stepping it up. And I think with the Highlander, they're taking a big leap because this is a relatively big namesake for them, and it's gonna only be an EV. There's no hybrid or anything like that. It's just EV. So it makes me feel as though Toyota is starting to take things a little bit more serious. So what I want to do, everybody, I want to go through the press release, talk a little bit about everything with the car. Again, talk about our situation, what we'd like to do, some of my thoughts, generalized thoughts at the end, and then we're going to call it a video. So let me go ahead, let me pull up the press release. All right, everybody, so here is the press release. I'm going to be looking down at it a little bit, so don't mind if I'm not looking up, but you'll probably be looking at the press release with me on the screen. So here it is: elevated style meets modern power in the next generation 2027 Toyota Highlander. And here it is. And my initial impressions, I think it looks really, really good. Big fan of it. I like it way more than I liked the original BZ, and I still like it more than the BZ4X, and more than the updated BZ. So looking good there. Love the stance. Looks great. Has that typical kind of hammerhead light signature there in the front. I like on the side here, this little, I don't even know what it is, but this looks cool. Makes it feel sporty. I don't know. But anyways, let's keep scrolling down here. These are just the highlights. We'll talk about that stuff later. And yeah, they're going to have a 12.3-inch driver's display, a 14-inch touchscreen for your infotainment, so that will be decent. I have some concerns I'll talk about later when it comes to that. An available panoramic roof, which looks really nice. We'll see how much it ends up costing. Here is the big deal I want to talk about. It's kind of laid out better later, but they're going to have XLE and Limited. And with the XLE, you can get a front-wheel drive smaller battery and an all-wheel drive smaller battery. And then you can get the bigger battery that only comes in all-wheel drive. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Looking good. It's a 77 kilowatt hour battery versus the bigger pack, which is a 95.8 kilowatt hour battery. It's going to have the Toyota Safety Sense, which is going to have lane centering. So that's all that really matters to me. So I'm good with that. And then they're talking here about the storage with the third row down, 45 cubic feet, which is pretty good. You know, not, if I remember, it's pretty close to Ioniq 9. So when I was looking at all their dimensions, they're pretty close for the most part. There's a couple things where the Ioniq 9 and EV9 are actually a little bit better. but that's okay. I like that they're going to have vehicle to load. Hyundai and Kia already have that, but this shows that the Highlander is going to have it. I'm hoping that it'll have some sort of plug thing so you can have like multiple. We'll see how that goes. And I'm sure they'll have, since it says power backup at home in case of an outage, that they'll have some sort of home system. Be interested to see what they have going on there. And then I think we can scroll down. Here they're showing the new, and then they're showing the old Highlander. Like, look, the new one looks way better than this. Like, way better than that. And way better than that. So let's keep scrolling. Way better than that. Way better. Anyways, let's keep scrolling down and go to, they have all the dimensions. Again, dimensions are generally slightly smaller than the Kia products. The opening here, if you all can see that, it actually looks pretty good. And you can see the captain's chairs too. You can get a bench in the XLE all-wheel drive. Keep scrolling down, 64 colors, optional heads-up display. There's a good view of the panoramic sunroof. And then all 3 rows. USB-C everywhere, lots of cup holders, and there's rear HVAC for all passengers, which is really nice. They're on the posts, so that's good to hit people right in the face. And here we go. So this is what I was talking to you all about. So they got the XLE front wheel drive with a small battery, 77 kilowatt hour, and they're saying 287 miles of range. So, okay, we'll see how that, if it works out to be that way. Then they've got the all-wheel drive with a small battery pack, knocks 17 miles off of the range. And this is just the manufacturer estimate, not EPA. Then we have the XLE all-wheel drive with the 95.8 kilowatt hour battery, and it's saying 320 miles. And if you're wondering, that is about a 3.3 mile per kilowatt hour efficiency. Now that is combined, so I'm thinking with that all-wheel drive, big battery, highway speed, probably looking 2.5 to 2.8 mile per kilowatt hour if you're lucky. So still pretty reasonable for a big car. I'm not expecting the best efficiency in the world. Maybe it's lower, we'll see. Obviously, if we get it, we'll test it. Comes with NACS, which is great, the North American Charging System. And that is on the front right side, which is the correct side, some people say. I actually like the front left personally. But and a couple of reviewers did mention this, and I do agree with them. I wonder if it's too far back for a Tesla, like a version 3 Tesla. We'll see. But it'll interface natively. This is the big deal. 10 to 80 in around 30 minutes. I hate when they use terms like that. You know, some manufacturers give an exact number. I really like that, around 30. So is that 28? Is that 32? What is it? I don't know. But close to 30 minutes, which in my opinion, for a 3-row vehicle meant for families is actually fine. I know some people might not agree with that. But if you have a big family, you got dogs, you're going on a trip, and you probably only go on a trip once or twice a year, you're probably gonna take longer than 30 minutes, at least in my perspective, at a stop for everyone to go to the bathroom, walk the dogs, all that. It does have, level 1 and level 2 AC charging cable included, which is really nice. And I assume that'll probably be a 40 amp. We'll see if they do anything less than that. And it has a 48 amp onboard charger, so you can max out if you want to do a home system that you have straight into your breaker box. You can do a 48 amp charger, which would be awesome. Get those max speeds. Here it says it does have battery preconditioning, which is great. It will do it on route, so if you're going to a charger, it'll precondition, and you can also manually do it. I like having both options, which is great. It will have plug-in charge, so it has the capability to do that. Who will it have plug-in charge with? It doesn't say, so I don't know. We'll find out more about that later, I guess. And then I guess this is probably a downside, but they do mention a lot where you need to have some sort of subscription, active remote connect trial. It comes with a 3-year trial, but after that, I'm not sure how much it'll cost. All EVs and really cars, I think, have some sort of subscription. A lot of people don't like that. I will say this does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so that is a workaround a lot of people have when it comes to not wanting to do subscriptions. I'm I mean, I don't love subscriptions. I haven't had to pay for one yet, but I would definitely have to make a decision once that comes up. So again, talked about Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It is wireless, which I don't enjoy the wireless one just because it's not as good, and I feel like it burns the phone battery more. There is wireless charging, phone charging. Here they're just talking about different connected services. Here's all their safety things. I'm not going to talk all about it, but I already mentioned earlier my biggest thing is this lane tracing assist. I like having lane centering, which is really, really nice. They have road sign, automatic high beams, lane departure, dynamic radar cruise control. So, yep, I'm happy with all that. Obviously, Super Cruise is nice. Travel Assist is nice, but this seems to have a similar system to Travel Assist. And then, except for the what do they call it? Traffic jam help or traffic jam assist. That's like your stop and go cruise control. That you have to option, which I don't like that. But that's for 25 miles an hour below. So here they have two different grades, is what they're calling, or trims. So they've got the XLE. It's pretty, I mean, it's well equipped for me. It's got front acoustic glass, cool daytime running light in the front. 19-inch wheel with aero caps, which is great. I actually like the flush door handles. They look really nice. Have that infotainment, a 6-speaker audio system, which you probably can option up. A good driver display, and it's closer. I never liked with the BZs how far back it was, and it also looked really terrible. But anyways, the new one is closer and is going to be great. Soft, so everything is Softex trim seating, so like that fake leather. But for the XLE, it's just heated. It's not ventilated. Has paddles. I saw that somewhere. Oh, there it is. Paddles, which is nice. Second row is one-touch fold. I saw people in reviews have a little bit of trouble with it, but I'm not sure if just they weren't holding it long enough or what. I won't know until I get my hands on it. We already know about all that stuff. And drive recorder, so I'm pretty sure I read in the press release, it's like 20 seconds, so a constant 20 second, and then if an accident were to happen, it would save that. So that's pretty cool. So a built-in dash cam in the event that something were to happen, always nice, a great feature, especially if you're doing what you're supposed to do, and someone else, sorry, I had to do the windshield. It's raining, if you can't tell. We're about to have, not a blizzard here, but some decent snow, but other places are gonna get a major blizzard. So anyways, that drive recorder is super nice to keep you protected when you're doing what you're supposed to do while you're driving and maybe someone else isn't. Then to bump up to limited, side view mirrors with memory and reverse tilt, people like that. Actually, my car has it and I don't love that, which I know is weird, but I don't love it. Heads up display, which again, I don't really like heads up displays, so not a big deal for me. Ventilated seats is in limited. I do like ventilated seats. Yeah. Heated second row, yeah. Rear sunshade, which is a nice touch if you have kids, especially younger kids, infant. Advanced park, total waste. I don't really know why they keep putting them in cars. I rarely use it. The one instance I do use it most is parallel parking. I'll say that I do use it for parallel parking, and that's about it. As far as like getting to a parking spot, like it's just a total waste of time. Total waste of time. Now, if it would, I don't know if it does this. I don't think it does. But if it like would pull it out, like like allowed to come out a little bit, if you're in a tight spot, that would be nice. But I don't think it does that. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. There's that traffic jam assist. So you have to get the limited to get traffic jam assist, which is kind of annoying. Panoramic view monitor. I really like that. My wife likes that, but I don't. It's going to really depend on how expensive the limited trim is, whether we would get that or not. Lane change assist. I do like lane change in the Equinox, and in the ID4 it's okay. It's not as good as Super Cruise, but it's not a deal breaker for us. And front cross traffic alert, nice to have, but not the end of the world. And then here you can option these things. So bench seating on the XLE, all-wheel drive only. So that's the big battery, all-wheel drive. Panoramic roof you can put on all of them, which is nice. And I was looking at like the BZ, it was only $1,000. So if it was $1,000 to $1,500, that I think would definitely be worth it just to brighten up the cabin. In a 3-row, it's probably gonna be dark back there. JBL with 11 speakers, sub and amplifier. So we'll see how that goes. how much that is. That might be worth it to get if it's not too expensive. And then two-tone paint and 22-inch wheels unlimited. So there's that. Again, showing all of the comparisons. The horsepower. So on the front wheel drive, it's not going to be great, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Once you bump up, and it's also 198 pound-feet of torque. So really not the best, but it's fine. It'll drive you places. The all-wheel drive bumps up to 338 horsepower and then 323 pound-feet of torque. Now we're talking, that'll probably be pretty reasonable and a great driving experience for people. Length, width, height, wheelbase, there it is. The cargo volume, 45.6 cubic feet with the third row down. They didn't advertise with the second row down, but probably in like 85 to 90. But I have not read that anywhere. So again, a little bit smaller in some things. It's a little bit wider. Sorry, I'm specifically talking about the Hyundai cars. It's a little bit wider than the Hyundai, just barely, but smaller in pretty much everything else, but barely. So they're all pretty comparable. The cargo volume with the third row up is notably smaller than the EGMP cars, but it doesn't say about passenger space, so I don't know if that space was given to the passengers. If it was, then it's worth it. If it wasn't, then yikes. So yeah, that's the press release there. Looks like a great car. I think people are going to enjoy it. It's just, are they going to get the price right? And I'll talk about that later. So I want to try and figure out what the price might be. So first thing I did, I was looking at the Toyota BZ. So here is the press release for the BZ. Let me scroll up for you all so you can see. Oh, there it is. And I'm going to come down here to the price comparisons. Here it is. And so the XLE front wheel drive is, and that is with a smaller battery, is $34,900. And then if you wanted to bump up to the XLE all wheel drive, I'm skipping the front wheel drive, it's $39,900. So it's a difference of $5,000. So I don't know if that's exactly what the difference will be for the XLE front-wheel drive Highlander to the XLE all-wheel drive Highlander. But if they could keep it to $5,000 difference, that would be great. And then I was trying to figure out, well, what will they start it at? So if we look at the EV9, their small battery rear-wheel drive, so not front-wheel drive, is $54,900. So my thoughts are, if Toyota, and I think Toyota has the ability, because they make a little bit more money, if they could start the front-wheel drive at like $47,900, and then if it's $47,900, the all-wheel drive big battery could be in like the $53,900, around there, or $52,900, even up to $54,900. I think that would be chef's kiss, and I think they would sell a lot of them. I hope that's what they do. It's tough to say when you're looking at what happened with the BZ trim. I ignored the Woodland because the Woodland's kind of a little bit different. So maybe it's possible. We'll see. If you figure if the XLE all-wheel drive would be $39,900, and so $12, $13, $14, $15,000 more for a slightly bigger car. I think it's about 8 to 10 inches, if memory serves me right, bigger. Yeah, so we'll see. They have not released pricing yet. That's my guess. That's my hope. So like $47,900, and then if they could do $43,900 for the all-wheel drive bigger battery, might just be a pipe dream though. We'll see. But again, I was trying to look at the BZ and do my comparison there. So I'm going to go ahead, close out there of everything on the internet, and then give my thoughts about a couple things. So first things first, I talked about price. The price has to be right. So if they can get about what I'm thinking price-wise, I think it's going to sell well. If not, I don't know. I think it's going to get muddled, and like people are going to be like, well, I might as well go for one of the EGMP cars that charges a little bit faster. Not much faster, but a little bit faster. You're talking like 6 to 8 minutes faster per charge stop, so not the end of the world. And I think Toyota has the ability to deliver on price. They're a really big company. It's being made in the U.S. The batteries are being made in the U.S. I don't know if that's a good thing at the end of the day, but maybe to avoid tariffs and stuff like that. So hopefully they can make it happen. I really do. And hopefully they will. We'll see what happens there. Next thing I want to talk about is charging. Personally, for me, and just my experience driving a car with a family, because that's the perspective I come from, right? Is with a family, is the 30-minute charge time is not the end of the world. Going to be pretty good. It gets you about 260 to 270 miles. Well, probably 260 miles at 70-ish miles an hour. That's going to be a pretty substantial amount of driving time. I think that's going to be all right. That's just my perspective. Now, would I love for them to have faster charging? Absolutely. I love fast charging, and the faster charging gets, the more convenient. But right now, it does make things more expensive because you have to have different cabling and stuff like that, and the battery's going to be different. And so if they're doing it to make it cheaper and it's going to hit that price target, I think it'll be worth getting this car over the EGMP. So I'm cool with charging. It's really going to be fine. I like that they have the NACS port, and that's going to give you access to the Tesla supercharger network. I do want to mention this because the 2027 Highlander, the EV9, and the Ioniq 9 all have NACS ports, which is great. I believe the Highlander and EV9 have the charge port in the optimal location. I'm pretty sure. The Ioniq 9 doesn't. It's on the rear right. But, which not a lot of people are talking about, even though, the Highlander may not charge great, allegedly, and the other two are the high voltage and they'll charge a little bit faster, the Highlander is a 400 volt. So you're going to get the same charging speeds at a supercharger that you will at any other charger because it's a 400 volt car. So you're going to get consistent charging speeds. Whereas if you have one of the EGMP and you go plug in at a Tesla charger, you're going to get slower speeds, and it'll probably be pretty comparable to the Highlander. So I'm just trying to find the light where I can. So I think that is really great with the Highlander, having the NACS port and the 400 volt. You're going to get really consistent charging anywhere you go. Really nice. One issue I do want to talk about that I really have with this car, at least at this point in time, is the fact that there appears, based on all the reviews I had seen, to be no built-in route planning. So on your infotainment, you put where you want to go, you press enter, and then it'll pick all the chargers for you, and then you can just follow that and do what it says, and you're good to go. Most of the reviewers seem to say that there wasn't any route planning. I heard some there might be something with Apple Maps on CarPlay, like in the Ford products, the F-150 Lightning. You can actually use Apple Maps, and it does route you and shows you what your state of charge will be at locations. If that exists, that'll be fine. I've heard some issues with it, but it's better than nothing. So hopefully that is the case if it's true, but I haven't seen anything 100% confirmed about that. So, don't think that that's going to exist for sure. So if they could build in the EV route planning into their navigation, that would be ideal. There are workarounds like using a better route planner, and that's probably what I would do if I really needed to use it. But just disappointing they don't have it now, especially when most of the competition has it to some extent. So hopefully they can fix that. If they don't, at least again for my feeling, it won't be in the end of the world. And if we end up getting it and then you all end up getting it, I will help you learn how to navigate through that. It's not that hard, but obviously just having it built in, like with my Equinox, has really great route planning, is just a much better experience for an EV driver. And me being an advocate of EVs, I just think having the best, easiest experience, especially for new drivers, is the way to go. And Toyota might be setting some people up for failure, but we shall see. Again, tune in, like and subscribe to my channel, or subscribe, and I'll help you all out if we do end up getting the Highlander. So that's definitely a major issue I saw with this car, but at least it does have on-route battery preconditioning, so we can't complain all the time, can we? Can't complain about everything. So the big question, are we going to get the 2027 Highlander? I'm not 100% sure, but we are definitely leaning towards it. We're still going to look at the Rivian R2. It's smaller, definitely not the same class of car. You know, obviously, you know, 2-row versus 3-row. But we do like the Rivian. We've always wanted a Rivian, and that would be a good option for us. But if we're being really honest with ourselves, we could probably spend a little bit more or almost the same money and get a bigger car, which would probably fit our family, the needs of our family a little bit better. So we'll see. I would say we're probably 80% gonna get the Highlander. 80%, 70%. Maybe I'll drop it down a little bit. 70%. 20% R2, 10% something else. We'll see. It kind of checks a lot of boxes for my family. My wife and her family love Toyota, so that checks the box for her. For me, it's a good enough Toyota product where for an EV that I would be willing to have it in our family. It's 3-row, and it also, at least for me, it has the V to L, which I'm interested in looking into. I think NV to H it said too, so that would be really nice because we could try something out at our house here with the V to H. The Equinox also has it, but it was pretty expensive, and I'm assuming the Toyota one will be pretty expensive too, so maybe we won't do that. But it would be cool to try it, wouldn't it be cool? So yeah, we'll see. So anyways, if you are also interested in the Highlander like we are, I really recommend for you to subscribe to the channel. Once they start to release more and more information like pricing, I'll probably do another video once pricing's released and specific trim details, if they have a little bit more specific trim details. So go ahead, subscribe so you can stay up to date once that happens. And then of course, if we do end up getting the Highlander, I'll run it through everything I do. I always do an infotainment video. I do a general charging video, bunch of charging curves and logs like that. I do efficiency tests. I do range tests. I do all that stuff. I'm going to do a boomerang challenge. Everything I like to do with our new EVs. And if you're subscribed, you'll know that that stuff is coming, and you can see if it's still a car you want, or if you already got the car, you can figure out how to use the car. So that's all I have for today, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this video. It's longer, but I just wanted to go through everything, really give you my honest impressions, and that's just what I do on this channel. I give you my honest impressions. It's like a conversation. Sometimes the videos are shorter, sometimes they're longer. I know some people like to say I blather on, but I feel like I always say exactly what I want to say, and if it's a long time, I'm sorry. Maybe listen to it in 2 times. So thanks again for watching. If you haven't already, please remember to give a like, a subscribe, hit that hype button, and I'll catch you all next time.